What is up, everybody? Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now. Sunday, Week 14 wrap-up coming up. A lot of Eagles news to get to here during this Texans-Chiefs Sunday night game. I'm on the couch watching the game, keeping tabs on that, and we're talking Eagles here on the show. I hope everybody out there had a fantastic weekend. A programming reminder, we will be live tomorrow for Monday Night Football. We're doing another watch party here on the channel as we go live for every single Eagles game. Eagles Chargers tomorrow. We'll do about an hour pregame show, so hit that sub button, but also hit that bell icon. Turn on those notifications. Therefore, anytime I publish a video like this, anytime we do go live, you'll get that push notification. Eagles fans already taking over Los Angeles in the lead up to this game, so it's going to be a fantastic environment, and hopefully the Eagles, with the bunny put up in the locker room and what we're about to talk about today, can give Eagles fans something to cheer about. And by the way, we're 43 subscribers away from 139,000. Let's continue to grow the empire. Hit that sub button right now. So let's begin here. Some breaking news over the weekend going into this game on Monday night for Week 14. Coach Nick Sirianni, according to Tim McManus of ESPN, has been more involved in the offensive preparations this week, according to team sources, as the Eagles look to bounce back on Monday night on the road against the Chargers. More from McManus here, that Sirianni has been more vocal in offensive meetings and has been presenting material alongside offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo, sources said. According to one source, he has been addressing the group for longer than usual at the top of meetings before ceding to Patullo, who continues to run them. So Sirianni, of note, said this past week, a couple of days ago, that after the Eagles mini-bye and the loss on Black Friday to Chicago, that the Eagles had productive meetings, they had good conversations, and they were going to make some adjustments, alterations, and changes to the offense, despite Kevin Patullo still being the play caller and remaining on as offensive coordinator. Now, I think Patullo has one more game to get it right, and if the Eagles have another bad performance here in Week 14, with 4 games left, I think you have to try something new. Go with a different offensive coordinator. Go with a different play caller, whether it be Scott Loeffler, who's the quarterback's coach, whether it be Press Taylor, who's also called plays before and is the pass game coordinator. This is the last chance for Patullo. And clearly Sirianni has had conversations with Howie Roseman. He's had conversations with Jeffrey Lurie, and they've come to an agreement here, I would imagine, that Sirianni at least is taking more onus of the offense, and he's becoming more involved. I think this is something smart to do without, of course, changing the play caller. This is Sirianni's offense, but a different voice is clearly needed. A different direction is clearly needed. You have these offensive problems. You have Saquon Barkley saying that the energy on the sideline during game days has been shit. And Sirianni is the CEO head coach. So part of his job is to oversee the entire operation, manage the team, put together a culture, manage that, and oversee all 3 aspects: offense, defense, special teams. And so here he's stepping in and he's having more of a say on this offense going into a huge game against the Chargers. Because if you lose this game, look, you still give life to the Dallas Cowboys to potentially win the NFC East. And this could be good for the Eagles in Sirianni doing this. This could be bad, but we will certainly see if it makes a difference on Monday night. I know that this is Sirianni's offense. I've said that when I've told people not to just direct their blame to Kevin Patullo. I do think Kevin Patullo is to blame for these offensive struggles. He has a lack of play calling feel, a lack of play call sequencing. I don't think that he always staggers plays the right way at times, but he's also calling plays in Nick Sirianni's offense, and Jalen Hurts has his preferences for what he wants to call and what he wants to do, and sometimes he is risk averse, and this Eagles offense is erring on the side of being cautious. But it's also on Sirianni that this is his offensive scheme, and they're bottom 5 in pre-snap motion. They run the most hitch routes in the NFL. A.J. Brown is in the slot the least among any wide receiver in all of football. And so when I've been saying there are so many reasons for why this offense is struggling, it's loaded, and it's a loaded topic. And there are so many different people and things to blame. But this is also an offense that won the Super Bowl last year, that made it to a Super Bowl in 2022. There have been seasons and times when this offense has been productive. And that's why I have said, to put some life into a lifeless unit, I think you got to have a different play caller out there in Kevin Patullo. So for me, this is his last chance to prove that he can be the OC for this team here in 2025, because this Eagles offense is searching for answers. Nick Sirianni is trying to find answers here, and that's why he's going about this in this manner. And I know that they're best friends, but Nick, you're the head coach of the football team. And if you want to save your job, you can't always be loyal. If Kevin Patullo struggles on Monday night against a really good defense, led by a young defensive coordinator who's going to be a head coach at some point soon, and Jesse Minter, your boy and Kevin Patullo has to call a better game. And this offense has to play better, because against the Bears and with A.J. Brown being vocal, it's almost as if everybody has been vocal and they've voiced their frustrations, and they've had that bad body language and energy that Saquon Barkley mentioned, because they don't have confidence in the offensive play caller right now. I mean, this is the most expensive offense in the NFL. It's an offense that returns 10 of 11 starters from a team that won the Super Bowl last year. They have all this talent, and they're 24th in yards, 23rd in passing, 22nd in rushing, 19th in points. And they have a lower success rate than the frickin' New York Jets, who are an awful football team, who got drubbed today by the Miami Dolphins, who all of a sudden are kind of hot and alive in the playoff picture. And this is also an Eagles team that since the bye week has been awful. I mean, you think about Nick Sirianni teams coming out of the bye week, Andy Reid teams coming out of the bye week. It's kind of been something that this organization has done really well, even under Doug Peterson. They've played their best ball out of the bye week. But this is a team that in their last two games has averaged 15.5 points. Or, sorry, they've averaged 15.5 points in their last 4 games coming out of the bye week. Since that Giants game when they scored 38 points, they've been averaging 15.5 points coming out of the bye week. Now that I count that up, right? Packers, Lions, Cowboys, Bears. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Other news here that's been developing over the weekend, and it'll continue to be a developing story going into tomorrow night, is that Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert is expected to play. He's been a limited participant in practice, but he's been doing some 7-on-7s, some 11-on-11s. He has this really interesting cast on his non-throwing hand because he broke a bone in that throwing hand last week, got surgery on it, and he's been taking snaps out of the shotgun and under center. But Jay Glazer had reported today that if Jim Harbaugh and that offense were to call plays from under center, Greg Roman is the OC, that maybe Trey Lance would come in type of goal line situations. But it looks like Justin Herbert is going to play on Monday. As for the Eagles' opponent next week, the Las Vegas Raiders, I think right now they're playing like the worst team in football. Worse than Tennessee, worse than the Jets. They are a terrible football team. Geno Smith left that game early with an injury to, I believe, his throwing hand, and he was replaced by the Raiders QB2, Kenny Pickett, the former Eagle and backup from last year, who the Eagles traded away to Cleveland. Then he got dealt to Las Vegas because the Eagles said, Tanner McKee, you're up. You're one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL. Kenny Pickett, nice to know you. Grew up as an Eagles fan. We're going to ship you out of here because McKee is so good. So Kenny Pickett might start next week for the Raiders against the Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. There has been a shakeup, by the way, in the NFC standings today without the Eagles playing. Now, Philadelphia will stay in the number 3 spot in the NFC, and that was the case going into today. Bears were the 1 seed, Rams were the 2 seed, Eagles were the 3 seed. But given the results of today, there's been a shakeup here in the NFC standings. So the Rams throttled the Arizona Cardinals, who have won 1 game since week 2. They move up to the number 1 seed because the Bears lost on the road to the Green Bay Packers in a classic NFC North game, which came down to the wire. Bears mounted a comeback, but then Caleb Williams threw an interception in the end zone with 25 seconds left. And so Green Bay wins. They move up to the number 2 seed. Green Bay 9-3-1 on the year. There were fireworks in that game at Lambeau Field. Well, the Bears play the Browns this upcoming week in Week 15. Then they play the Packers again at Soldier Field. And let's say that the Packers win and beat the Bears again. That could be significant for the Eagles because the Rams are 10-3, number 1 seed. The Packers 9-3-1, number 2 seed. If the Eagles win on Monday night, they are 9-4. But keep in mind, by season's end, if the Eagles have the same amount of wins as the Packers or the Rams, they won the head-to-head and own the tiebreaker over Green Bay and over the Rams. So that could be important for tie-breaking scenarios and seeding in the NFC. Now, the Packers are 9-3-1, and even if the Eagles win tomorrow night, they'll be 9-4. So I guess due to winning percentage, the Packers would still be ahead of the Eagles because that tie throws a wrench into things. But again, seeding important between the Eagles, Green Bay, and the Rams because the Eagles won the head-to-heads against the Packers and the Rams, but they did not win the head-to-head against the Bears. So if the Bears finish with the same record as the Eagles, and that Packers-Bears game is going to be huge in 2 weeks, then the Bears would own the tiebreaker over Philadelphia. Now, I'm looking at NFL.com right now, and the playoff probability odds, if the Eagles lose against the Chargers, 93%. Currently, 97%. If they win, 99%. Other shakeups here in the NFC. So the Buccaneers lost today to the Saints. Tyler Shuck playing well. They're 7-6. Carolina is 7-6, but they still have to play 2 times. And so the Buccaneers stay in the 4th spot. The Seahawks, the 5 seed at 10-3, they beat Atlanta today. The other movement, the Niners move up to the 6th seed without playing today during their bye week. And they move ahead of the Bears. And the Bears drop down to the 7 seed. So if the playoffs were to start right now, we'd see Eagles-Niners in the wild card round. First round, the 3-6 matchup. But the Niners and the Bears play in 2 weeks. So that game is going to be huge. Lions with their win over the Cowboys, 8 seed at 8-5. The Panthers, the 9 seed at 7-6. And the Cowboys now the 10 seed at 6-1. And their current playoff probability per NFL.com's model is 6%. And speaking of Eagles-Cowboys here. So I was talking about these numbers the other night. That the Eagles now have a 95% chance of winning the NFC East. And obviously all these models are different. But this was what the Amazon model on Thursday night. Eagles have a 95% chance of winning the NFC East. The Packers or the Cowboys playoff chances went from 39% with the win over Detroit to 9% with a loss. Now, there is a scenario in which the Cowboys can still win the NFC East, but it would require another 2023 level choke job for the Eagles. If the Eagles went 2-3 to end the year, and the Cowboys went 4-0 to end the year, they could win the NFC East. But I don't think the Cowboys have been consistent enough to do that. And I think this Eagles team has too much talent to go 2-3 the rest of the way. So if you beat the Chargers, you have the Raiders coming up, you win that game, you're good. You lose against the Chargers, you beat the Raiders, you've got Commanders, Bills, Commanders, but Jaden Daniels got hurt again today. He came back from that dislocated elbow, threw a pick, and landed on that dislocated elbow. I don't think we're going to see him for the rest of the year. We might not ever see Zach Ertz again. He suffered a brutal knee injury. And thank God his foot wasn't planted, but he went up to catch a football. He got hit around the knee, and it was one of those gruesome injuries where the knee bends back, worried about PCL there potentially, which stabilizes the knee, but he was in tears as he got carted off. He might be done for his career, and if he is, he's going to go down as one of the best tight ends in the history of football. Now, some people might say, Chase, what are you talking about? No way. Zach Ertz is 5th all-time among tight ends in receptions. The 4 players ahead of him are either in the Hall of Fame or, in the case of Travis Kelce, will be in the Hall of Fame. So what a career for Zach Ertz. It may have come to an end today, given the age and a brutal injury for him. So wanted to pass along all of that on this Sunday night, chopping it up, talking Eagles here. We will be live Monday Night Football, Eagles-Chargers. Can't wait for it. The best place to experience an Eagles game day outside of being at the actual game. And I mentioned I was sitting on my couch watching the Sunday Night Football game. Look at that beautiful Christmas tree. One take that I have, there is nothing better than a real Christmas tree. There's something about going to get it, putting it up, the fresh scent of pine that is unbeaten. And when you're playing Christmas music, putting the ornaments on the tree, it is just the best. Holiday season. Gotta love it, man. I've got some Eagle ornaments on there as well. Gotta rep the birds. All right, Eagles blanket right here too. Go Birds. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you all had a great weekend, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.